So in this segment, we're going to be talking about Jeremy Hunt talking about technological solutions and moaning about the EU, even though it was him and his government that voted for Boris Johnson's withdrawal agreement. Very ironic stuff from Jeremy Hunt. I think he was a guy who said he was anti-lockdown, even though he was very much for the lockdown and criticised the lateness of it. So very much a guy who doesn't know what he's doing. Let's have a listen.
I do think that technical solutions can work fine. And the technical solution that I think can really work in Northern Ireland is to say there's no paperwork for any products exported from mainland UK to Northern Ireland. But if you send those products onto the Republic of Ireland inside the EU's single market, the law will come down on you like a ton of bricks. And
how do you know what? You didn't describe a technological solution, though. You didn't really describe much apart from the fact that there would be no paperwork. Can you explain what technology would be used to, ensure that goods don't go into the Republic of Ireland? Can you tell us?
That can work, and the issue is not...
But they're not working. There is no technology, as far as I can see, being used here. You have lorries with 700 pages of documents.
Because the UK were meant to give access to live data to the EU. That was meant to be, in part the technological solution to deal with it. The UK hasn't done that. We haven't. The EU want access to what the government has, government databases, essentially, regarding what goods are flowing from GB to NI. I think the UK government have offered business databases, which is obviously far more confusing, and it won't be as easy to read because businesses might use different databases, etc., different softwares, amongst other things, to really, see what goods are moving between GB and NI. So it makes sense to use the government database because it would be all in one. So he hasn't actually mentioned technology, what databases are used, etc.
At the moment, we are not allowing the law to do its work, and the EU won't allow that. They won't allow us to try that solution.
Because it's not a solution. That's why.
And look, I understand their frustration that having signed an agreement, Boris Johnson now wants to change it this soon. But the reality is that no British Prime Minister, whoever it was in number 10, can tolerate a situation where you can't have a free flow of goods from mainland Great Britain to Northern Ireland.
Hang on, big boy. That was what your government ran on. You guys ran on the Northern Ireland Protocol as part of the withdrawal agreement. It was in, the Tory manifesto. You guys ran on it. You had to vote for it in order for you to run as a Tory MP. So talking about no British government, that was you guys. You guys did this. You can't go back on it now. This isn't the 1800s where Britain can make a deal and say, actually, we change our minds. Gunboat diplomacy is over, pal. You can't go around changing your mind on international agreements. There's only one or two countries that can get away with that in the world, and we are not one of them.
And, from the EU's point of view, this is an area where I'm afraid they do have to be flexible.
Why? Why do they have to be flexible? We have an agreement. They have an agreement. They don't have to do anything here. They really don't, because legally they're in the right, and the more kind of problems we cause around the Northern Ireland Protocol, the more we will be isolated from our traditional allies in America and in the EU, which is not a good idea, especially in this day and age.
But to gratuitously antagonise them, as the government has done this week with the announcement on Tuesday by Liz Truss, saying, well, we're going to legislate to not necessarily abolish the protocol, but certainly amend it without the EU's agreement. I mean, that is no way to conduct foreign policy, is it?
Well, I am someone who's criticised this government on a number of things. I disagree with the cut to the aid budget. I disagree with some of the decisions that were taken in the pandemic. But I think the government has been trying to negotiate patiently.
They really haven't. Otherwise, they would have looked at the October proposals, which get rid of effectively 80% of the checks in the RSC. He goes, this is from the EU. I'm going to go back over this at some point, actually, because I need to familiarise myself with this. So this is from the EU Commission, a bespoke solution for Northern Ireland on food, plant and animal health, leading to approximately an 80% reduction in checks. And let's not forget here, the checks done in the RSC are less than the checks done between GB and France and GB and the Netherlands, for example. So it's just ridiculous.
Over the last couple of years to try and resolve these issues. And in the end, the EU has not moved for this extraordinary reason.
They literally have moved in October. The October proposals, big boy, they have moved. They have made concessions. They have tried to come up with things to help alleviate the situation. They've spoken to businesses and people in Northern Ireland about what more they can do to kind of alleviate the stresses from it. So again, mate, either you're rubbish at your job, which at that point you should really resign and take up something else like collecting stamps or playing tiddlywinks with your kids, because you're not very good at this, are you, mate? Because you haven't actually read what the EU have come out with.
That they say we can't do that because we don't have a mandate to discuss changing the protocol in that way. Well, if you don't have a mandate to change the protocol where there are problems, that's basically saying you're not prepared to change it, and that is being...
Yes, they're not prepared to change it. They aren't planning to renegotiate the protocol. They will make tweaks.
Incredibly inflexible, and I'm afraid that's how I found them when I was Foreign Secretary and we were negotiating the terms of Brexit. It was too often all smiles when you met your fellow foreign ministers, but then when it came to the crunchy discussions with Michel Barnier in Brussels, the answer was a big fat no.
Yeah, because you come up with stupid solutions like technology which you don't understand. That's why.
And that is not the way that you get a constructive, positive relationship between two European neighbours that share so many values.
We share so many values, but the one we don't share, I guess, is breaking international agreements, because clearly certain EU countries are really much against that, and the UK are like, I want to break international law, pal. It's not our fault, it's because of you guys.
You rate the performance of the Foreign Secretary, Liz Truss?
3 out of 10 at best, in my opinion.
Well, I think she has to be robust. I'm not going to sit on this programme and backseat drive one of my successors.
Oh, go on. You know you want to.
I know you'd like me to, and I know you would. You're such a pro.
Is he, though?
But I'm not going to, because I think it's a very difficult job. She has this particular responsibility to resolve the situation in Northern Ireland. We have a political crisis in Northern Ireland at the moment, and I think we are saying in a very reasonable way to the EU, look, we think there are solutions that would be perfectly viable.
Except you're not, though. You're offering crappy, dumb solutions which you have no actual understanding about, when the EU have offered actual solutions in the October proposals. Again, I'll go over these at some point. But yeah, honestly, it's just comical that they're still pushing the technology argument. Can you describe one country that actually does this? There are countries in the EU and around the world that have internal borders. So these countries aren't, they don't use technology. They have actual internal borders to deal with certain aspects of trade, for example. So it's just ridiculous, honestly, that Jeremy Hunt has done this. But this is a guy who effectively had the job of breaking the NHS and did a really good job of doing it. This is a guy who had to essentially got into constant battles with junior ministers. This guy's an absolute fraud. But anyways, I'm gonna leave it there. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one.